Hey everyone, welcome back to RJK English. We are going through Siddhartha and we are on chapter 9 now. So we have 3 more chapters to go and we'll be finished with the book, and you will have completed a whole book in English and understood it. If you don't understand it, look below RJK English. You can go to me on Facebook and ask questions. I will post the videos there. You can comment here. And if you're learning, if you're getting something out of this, do me a favor. Meharbani kripya, please. Like and subscribe. This helps me to get my videos seen. I'm doing this all for free. I'm enjoying it, but I'd like to get the videos seen more. So please do that for me. Let's get into it. This is RJK English, by the way. And as you can see, I post on future tenses. I'm going through grammar. I'm also teaching from Hindi to English and Urdu to English. And yeah, I post things on basically all the stuff that I'm posting on YouTube. So you can look on YouTube, but you can talk to me here. All right, let's get into it. So Siddhartha, let me move that over there. Siddhartha is next to the river. He's meeting the ferryman that he met earlier, and he's starting a new part of his life. The ferryman. I will remain by this river, thought Siddhartha. It is the same river which I crossed on my way to the town. A friendly ferryman took me across. I will go to him. My path once led from his hut to a new life, which is now old and dead. Look at the time sequence of this. My path once led from his hut to a new life. But that life is now old, right? To that new life, which is now old and dead. So it went from here to here. That life is dead, and now I'm here. And I'm back to that river, that circle of return, right? May my present path, my new life, start from here. He looked lovingly into the flowing water, into the transparent green, into the crystal lines of its wonderful design. He saw bright pearls rise from the depths. What are those pearls? They're bubbles, right? Bright pearls rise from the depths. Bubbles swimming on the mirror. Sky blue reflected in them. Look at all the ways he describes the river. He sometimes shows that he is using an example. He says like or something like this. But mostly he's just using other words to describe it. He looked lovingly into the flowing water, the transparent green, green that you can see through, transparent green, crystal lines of its wonderful design. So now we're looking at the top of the river, how the crystal lines of the light go through it. He saw bright pearls rise from the depths, the bubbles. Couldn't you get a picture of it when you think of bright pearls? Sky blue reflected in them. Okay, great ways of explaining one thing. The river looked at him with 1,000 eyes, green, white, crystal, sky blue. How he loved this river, how it enchanted him, how grateful he was to it. In his heart he heard the newly awakened voice speak, and it said to him, love this river, stay by it, learn from it. Remember, he was looking for Atman, Atman, which is connected to Brahman, the world soul. It seems that he has found it somewhat, that Atman shows up. He can't control it, but Atman speaks to him. It is him, and it is also part of the world soul. It feels sometimes like it's not him, right? But he has found it, but it shows up when it wants. I've found that is very true to life. And we can see this in other stories where, maybe in Harry Potter, where, a being shows up to him, but it doesn't appear all the time. It appears on its own time. Or in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, when Aslan shows up at certain times and sometimes he's gone. I found this is the way life works. So, okay, let's keep going. Yes, he wanted to learn from it, the river. He wanted to listen to it. It seemed to him that whoever, understood this river and its secrets would understand much more, many secrets, all secrets. But today he only saw one of the river's secrets, one that gripped his soul. He saw that the water continually flowed and flowed, and yet it was always there. It was always the same, and yet every moment it was new. This is from old Greek philosophy as well. How can a river, which is flowing, be a river, and yet the water keeps flowing? New water is coming through all the time. How can it be always new, always different, but always one at the same time? This is a mystery of how our minds work. It's not really that much of a mystery, but to our minds it is, and it represents us. Who could understand, conceive this? He did not understand it. He was only aware of a dim suspicion, a faint memory, divine voices. Just like the voice inside of him, he feels like he has a connection to truth, but he can't totally grasp it. Again, seems to be the way life works for us. Siddhartha rose. The pangs of hunger were becoming unbearable. He wandered painfully along the riverbank, listening to the rippling of the water, listened to the rippling of the water, listened to the gnawing hunger in his body. When he reached the ferry, the boat was already there, and the ferryman, who had once taken the young samana across, stood in the boat. Siddhartha recognized him. He also had aged very much. "Will you take me across?" he asked. The ferryman, astonished to see a distinguished-looking man alone and on foot, took him on the boat and set off. Have we forgotten that Siddhartha is dressed in a rich person's clothes, right? He even has perfume on him. "You have chosen a splendid life," said Siddhartha. Sorry. Ferryman, yeah. "You have chosen a splendid life," said Siddhartha. "It must be fine to live near this river and sail on it every day." The rower smiled, swaying gently. "It is fine, sir, as you say, but is not every life, every work fine?" "Maybe, but I envy you yours." "Oh, you would soon lose your taste for it. It is not for people in fine clothes." Siddhartha laughed. "I have already been judged by my clothes today and regarded with suspicion. Will you accept these clothes from me, which I find a nuisance? For I must tell you that I have no money to pay for you taking me across the river." "This gentleman is joking," laughed the ferryman. "I'm not joking, my friend. You once previously took me across this river without payment, so please do it today also and take my clothes instead." "And will the gentleman continue without clothes?" I should prefer not to go further. I should prefer it if you would give me some old clothes and keep me here as your assistant, or rather your apprentice, for I must learn how to handle the boat." The ferryman looked keenly at the stranger for a long time. "I recognize you," he said finally. "You once slept in my hut. It is a long time ago, maybe more than 20 years ago. I took you across the river and we parted as friends. Were you not the samana? I cannot remember your name." "My name is Siddhartha, and I was samana when you last saw me." "You are welcome, Siddhartha. My name is Vasudeva. I hope you will be my guest today and also sleep in my hut. And tell me where you have come from and why you are so tired of your fine clothes." Now, if any of you are learning Devanagari or Hindi from me on my page, if you're not, go to the page and learn. We went through Siddhartha and Vasudeva. The at the end, that comes from Old Sanskrit and Prakrit or Pali, which the Buddha spoke. In current Hindi, we don't say the ending You would have to look at my old videos. We would say Siddharth or Vasudev. We wouldn't say Vasudeva. So this is a holdover from Old Sanskrit. And often when a word ends in we know, oh, this must be an old word from Sanskrit. Okay? They had reached the middle of the river, and Vasudeva rowed more strongly because of the current. He rowed calmly with strong arms, watching the end of the boat. Siddhartha sat and watched him and remembered how once, in those last samana days, he had felt affection for this man. He gratefully accepted Vasudeva's invitation. When they reached the riverbank, he helped him to secure the boat. Then Vasudeva led him into the hut, offered him bread and water, which Siddhartha ate with enjoyment, as well as the mango fruit which Vasudeva offered him. Later, when the sun was beginning to set, they sat on a tree trunk by the river, and Siddhartha told him about the origin of his life and how he had seen him today after that hour of despair. What was the hour of despair? After he left his old life and he felt horrible, right? And he thought about suicide. That was his hour of despair. The story lasted late into the night. Vasudeva listened with great attention. He heard all about his origin and childhood, his meaning Siddhartha, and about his studies, his seekings, his pleasures and needs. It was one of the ferryman's greatest virtues that, like few people, he knew how to listen. Without his saying a word, the speaker felt that Vasudeva took in every word, quietly, expectantly, that he missed nothing. He did not await anything with impatience, and gave neither praise nor blame. He only listened. Siddhartha felt how wonderful it was to have such a listener, who could be absorbed in another person's life, his strivings, his sorrows. Vasudeva has this, I'm stopping for a second. Vasudeva has this because he's been by himself so long, and he's listened to the river. He's learned to be patient. He's not seeking on his own, like I am. I can't quit talking. Why? Because I'm trying to learn all the time. I'm trying to get somewhere, right? This is also the greatest thing that we can give other people a lot of times, is just to listen. And I'm talking to myself right now. What do I do when my wife starts talking? I try to solve it. What do I do when a student starts talking? I try to solve it. Sometimes we need to listen even when what we're listening to is horrible, even when it's awful. Sometimes we just need to listen to the person and be absorbed in it, to empathize with them, even though we can't give them anything. Anyways, okay. However, towards the end of Siddhartha's story, when he told him about the tree by the river and his deep despair, about the holy Om, and how after his sleep he felt such love for the river, the ferryman listened with doubled attention, completely absorbed, his eyes closed. When Siddhartha had finished and there was a long pause, Vasudeva said, "It is as I thought. The river has spoken to you." Notice this is in, if we talk about tense right now, this is in present perfect tense. Why do I know this? Because it has the auxiliary has. The river has spoken to you. If you speak Hindi, nadi aapse baat kiya hai. The river has spoken to you. What this means is it did something in the past and it affects the current time. Otherwise, he would have said, the river spoke to you. But it's affecting the current. The river has spoken to you. It's affecting him right now. Siddhartha is one of whom the river has spoken to. And the river continues to speak to him. It's not done. If you say the river has spoken, or Nadi ne aapse baat kiya. The river spoke to you. It's done. It's over. River has spoken indicates that it's still affecting the present. That's present perfect tense. Okay, keep going. It is friendly towards you, too. It speaks to you. That is good. Very good. Stay with me, Siddhartha, my friend. I once had a wife. Her bed was at the side of mine, but she died long ago. I have lived alone for a long time. Come and live with me. There's a room and food for both of us. Okay, we'll stop here, and we'll start on the next one. We'll keep going with this conversation with Vasudeva and see where it goes. This is a bit of a long chapter, so I'm guessing there'll be at least 2 more videos, maybe 3. But there's not a lot of philosophy in this, so I don't have to stop a lot. All right, so see you next time.